Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, he, she, and today's pick is The Infinity Particle by Wendy Zhu, published by Quill Tree Books in 2023. I picked this up because I found Wendy Zhu's previous books, Mooncakes and Tidesong, pretty interesting, and so this seemed like an obvious addition to my TBR. Once I actually picked it up, I was also strongly reminded of a lot of YA I read growing up, and so it also pulled me right in. Content notes for abusive boss/parents, disconcerting mental things happening to you, and robot ethics. This graphic novel is aimed at a young adult audience. Keywords that came to mind are family, sentience, autonomy, soft sci-fi, robots, and love. And the rather lengthy summary is, quote, Clementine Chang moves from Earth to Mars for a new start, and is lucky enough to land her dream job with Dr. Marcella Lin, an artificial intelligence pioneer. On her first day of work, Clem meets Dr. Lin's assistant, a humanoid AI named Kye. Clem is no stranger to robots. She built herself a cute, moth-shaped companion named SENA. Still, there's something about Kye that feels almost too human. When Clem and Kye begin to collaborate, their chemistry sets off sparks. The only downside, Dr. Lin is enraged by Kye's growing independence and won't allow him more freedom. Plus, their relationship throws into question everything Clem thought she knew about AI. After all, if Kye is sentient enough to have feelings, shouldn't he be able to control his own actions? Where is the line between AI and human? As her past and Kye's future weigh down on her, Clem becomes determined to help him break free, even if it means risking everything she has come to Mars for. End quote. As I already mentioned, The Infinity Particle did remind me of a number of titles I read during my own teen years as I went through a cloning and genetic engineering ethics phase in high school. Different, but adjacent. It's interesting to think about how anti the thing corporations are currently trying to pass off as AI, I can feel, while still thinking that if we ever do end up with synthetic life, we need to treat them with dignity and respect. That said, I already think it's a red flag when someone disrespects their definitely not sentient technology, so perhaps it makes more sense than I realize. Looking through all the most negative reviews on Goodreads, as I do to try and even out my perspective, people were generally positive about the art, as per usual, but felt the characters were not very well developed. One person made what felt like a pretty good point that this might encourage teens to think falling in love with the first person to be nice to them, which isn't the best message out there. The biggest issue many of the reviewers had seemed to be with the robot romance. Looking at the art, I have to agree that it was very nice. Characters had distinct designs, and the Martian colony had a uniquely soft vibe. I felt like Zhu does a lot more showing, particularly visually, rather than telling, both in things like scene setting and also in showing the progression of the relationship between Clem and Kye, with physical touch steadily increasing over time, even as they don't necessarily talk about their relationship all that much. Writing-wise, I thought a lot of interesting themes are introduced and explored, although Zhu doesn't seem to feel a super strong compulsion to come up with many definitive answers. It's a coming-of-age story with a romantic thread. I appreciated the foci on consent and autonomy, although it did get pretty rough at times wading through all of Dr. Lin's abusive behavior. Platonic friendship and community continues to be an important theme I feel weaves through all of Wendy's work. To learn more about the writer/illustrator Wendy Zhu, check out my previous reviews of Tidesong and Mooncakes. Looking at the intersecting identities, as I do, gender and sexuality felt lightly explored in, again, a very visually dependent and unlabeled way, which is how I felt about Tidesong as well, and I would guess is part of Zhu's style. Similarly, we got some visual signals of characters falling into different categories of the social construct of race. We also explore what kinds of differences might or might not exist between people labeled as human and people labeled as synthetic, with Clem kind of ultimately straddling the line in some ways. Similarly, we have some exploration of something like ability and disability, mostly in the mental health realm, with Kye feeling like something is going very odd with their brain. Place was pretty well established, but also didn't always feel super important to the plot. Class felt unexplored. Wrapping things up, I do think that this was a book of ideas for me and very well done illustrations. The story was there, but didn't feel like the most important thing, to me at least. I probably need to go down another robot ethics rabbit hole, but I would overall rate this 3 stars because I do think it's a good time. Bye y'all, keep reading, and remember all colonial settler states are a lie. And Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders. which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, an Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.